Alright, here I am at the Magnolia Street Railroad crossing in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And this railroad crossing right here is a rather neat crossing owned by the Norfolk Southern Charlotte District. And as you guys can see, I have actually been to this crossing before, about a year ago, and toured it. But ever since I was last here, there has been some updates made and also some information that's been left out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do like a remastered crossing tour video on this today. But this is going to be a more of a special crossing tour video because, well, the person's going to be covering the information of this crossing is right here, Atlantic Coast Rail Fanner, or Caleb. And in this video, what he's going to do is he's going to go over all the history and the sceneries around this crossing, go over the in-depth, all over the equipment in depth, and then after all that, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what this crossing looks like in action. And before I continue on, just like all of my other remaster crossing tour videos, if you guys still want to see the original tour video I made on this crossing, I will leave a link to the video down in the description below, since I will be unlisting that old crossing tour video of this crossing, and pretty much the only way you could watch it is through the description of this video or in my crossing tour playlist. But yeah, let's get back to it.
Hey, I'm here too, you know.
Yeah, he's here too. So, I guess all that said, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the camera to Caleb and he will get this started. So, here we go.
Well, good morning, folks. I'm Atlantic Coast Rail Fanner, or Caleb. How you doing? And with special permission from Damon, I'll be hosting this crossing tour for you and going into history, what I found out about this crossing over the years. But to get some of the equipment out of the way, which I know most people are more interested in, let's go and get started. This here is the slave signal, which is the one where you're looking at, which has the original transport products base right here. This is original to the signal, as it used to be an entirely transport products setup. The emergency information and dot tags right here. 716640F is the code number. The gate mech is a SafeTran Systems Corp. I believe this is a 1980s generation gate mech. This lock is new. And it has, on the gate arm, it has 4 thick counterweights. The gate is a NEG, I believe it's a 45-footer gate with NEG, Rico LED gate lights with a wind guard. The lights are 2 pairs of SafeTran 12 by 24 inch lights, which were retrofitted just recently with these LEDs. I'm not sure what kind of LEDs are these?
So these look like to be the GE uniform LEDs. Now these lights used to be incandescent, and I believe these are the same light heads that this crossing had when I toured it last.
Yes, they are.
And they just, you know, shoved the GE uniforms in there to make it lighter and modernize them.
And on the side lights, we have Hawker and SafeTran 12 by 24 inch lights with LED retrofits in them as well. On a Transport Products light extender arm, with which you can't see it from here, but there's a finial top on top of the extender arm. There's a 2-track signs, which is sit there to compensate for the extender arm being right there. Now this signal used to have a Transport Products gate mech and I believe a Rayco mechanical bell on the top. You can actually see videos of this back in the 90s when this crossing still had its original equipment. And yeah, so I believe these were updated sometime in the late 90s. As a matter of fact, if I walk over here, you can see the original foundation for where the crossing used to stand.
Since this crossing here used to have like multiple tracks, which you will get at.
I believe this crossing used to have about 8 tracks. I don't know, there's old pictures of it. We'll get to that later. But anyways, why don't we scoot on over to the main signal. This here's the main signal. It is the signal that's next to the relay case, which is right there. And let's go and take a look at it here. On the base, which is not original, this is a Cerami base. Used to be a Transport Products base, but I'll get to that in a second. The emergency information is right here. And if we look over here, we have a Southern license plate style tag right there, which I believe they moved on to this signal from the original. The gate mech is the same thing, SafeTran 1980s generation gate mech with some crap chipping off of it. Here's another replacement lock.
Wait, a bird pooped on, they painted over that?
that could be true.
Yeah,
I don't know.
not my problem.
Looks like it.
And for the gate itself, it's another NEG, I believe 45-footer with the top one is a LED light. These are all Ricoh, by the way. That's an LED. The middle one's an LED, but the bottom one is actually incandescent, and it's still incandescent. I know that for a fact because I've seen it a million times. The lights are 2 more pairs of these 12 by 24 inch Safe Train lights with LED retrofits inside of them. You can see.
Yeah, which are GE uniform.
They're GE uniform, yeah. You can see the Safe Train logo on the light arms right there. And the bell is a General Signals Type 2 electric bell, which, you know, it's a bell I listen to on a regular.
So just like many other Norfolk Southern setups all across the country, other than like, let's say Michigan, this only rings when the gates are going down, and it doesn't ring again after that during its activation cycle.
That's just average. That's just a norm around here in the East.
Yeah,
especially
and the bell is set on, I would say, between medium and low volume, from what I heard.
Yeah, and if you look over here, if we walk way over here, there's the foundation for the original signal, which is sitting here. And which here it is, right here. Yep, foundation for the original signal. The tracks used to protrude out more to here. And now I'd like to go through a bit of a history about this crossing, because this thing has gone through quite a lot. So the signals you're looking at here were, I would say, installed / retrofitted in the early 2000s. This signal right here is definitely from the 2000s. That one got moved, but originally this was an entirely when the station was first built, it was a cluster of manual gates that were controlled by a signal tower, and the signal tower used to stand somewhere in this general area right here. And in the 40s, that signal tower actually had a traffic light installed on it. In fact, if we're able to, we'll put a picture of it about here. You can see what the signal tower looked like, and we'll try to put
If we can't find one, we'll put a fitting picture instead, okay?
Yeah, as a placeholder. In the 50s, that's when they took all that down and installed actual signals, which were entirely transport products set up with a mechanical bell. And in fact, the signals at first had stop on red signal signs, but eventually those got taken out. And once again, we'll put pictures of what they looked like right here. And this used to be just about 8 or 6 tracks, I believe. This was a lot more tracks than this.
Oh yeah, it was like a tramway and a yard at the same time that went through here, wasn't it?
Yeah, like just about. Yeah, and that all stayed up until just about the 80s when this more modernish equipment came in. It was 8-inch lights with the same gate mechs that you're seeing here. And then in the 90s or 2000s, they got the 12 by 24 inch lights. That signal lost its bell, and this signal got the E-bell. That's a little bit of history for you right there that I found out. And now we'll take a look at the track view. So what you're looking at here is track 2. That is track 1. If you face down this way, this is due north. That down there is control point Beaumont. And you can see the signals down there, which are normal. And you can see it signals up to a single track there. And if you look closely, you can see the protrusion out to the right. That takes you to the W line, which leads to Columbia. And this way, if you continue going straight, that will take you to the North Carolina border, eventually to Charlotte, and then to Linwood, where the Charlotte district becomes the Danville district. And facing due south, we have, this is due south. There's the Hain Intermediates right there. And look at that, there's a green right there, so 243 is close. That way leads you to Hain Yard, and eventually goes to Greer, then Greenville, and then you're entering into the Greenville district from that way, and there you go.
Yep, pretty much right here on this side is the Spartanburg Depot, where Amtrak stops here in the middle of the night pretty much, and over there is a old Southern caboose, which is basically a model train shop that's only opens on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Yep. And on this caboose also plays old videos of trains going through Spartanburg, and if you're wondering what these 2 signals right here, that's just control point Magnolia.
Yeah, so these signals are control point Magnolia. These are just a little bit of a tangent, but these are Safe Tran Darth Vader style signals, which were installed in 2012, which replaced a pair of original Southern heads. And these were put up once again in 2012. There's actually, you can actually see Google Maps when these signals were getting installed.
Yeah, and you can even see a protrusion to the CSX yard that we saw P42 work.
That turn off right there is where it leads to the CSX yard. And the relay case, as I showed earlier, is right here, and this doubles as the bungalow for Control Point Magnolia. So everything, including the crossing and the signal controls, are in there. That was basically the area here / crossing tour / whatever else in Control Point Magnolia.
History of the station itself, right there.
Yeah, pretty
Yes.
much how it's pretty neat how everything was simplified down to just this over the many decades.
And there is the Magnolia sign. There used to be 2, but this is the only one remaining. And yeah, this is the Magnolia Street Railroad Crossing. I'm Atlantic Coast Rail Fanner, hosting this.
And now, without out of the way, let's go ahead and see what this railroad crossing looks like in action. Here we go. That radio feed. Thank you guys so much for watching this crossing tour video. If you guys liked it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Atlantic Coast Rail Fanner for taking over this crossing tour video for me. Since, you know, this is pretty much the main area he rail fans around, he knows a lot more about the area than I do. And I figured this was a really cool crossing to do a remaster tour of, because of all the history and all the cool stuff that it pretty much contains. So, I guess with all this said, wherever I may go next, I hope to see y'all trackside. Over and out.
Stay safe.